Hi, this is a public service announcement, mainly for people on YouTube who consider themselves creators in the true crime community and they are interested in, you know, actively seeking perpetrators and seeking justice for victims. And what I'm about to say, it's not with malicious intent. This is purely opinion, and it's purely a warning, a personal warning to some people about who they get involved with, all right? And it's just from my observation about things that have gone on in the last few months, specifically since about July last year. So Mr. Chris McDonough has created his own YouTube channel, The Interview Room, with his wife Karen. It's got a slick little introduction with him walking toward the camera and then standing and then giving in a very unconvincing spiel for him about welcome to the interview room. Just want to warn you, just his personal opinion, this man is Mr. Slick, okay? Do not for 1 second forget the background of this man. Now, it is an interesting career highlighted with many amazing experiences, arrests, no doubt, etc. And he's from an era when, you don't get the confession, you plant the evidence. And why am I talking specifically about this? Oh, look, it's just I don't have any reason to think that. I'm just saying that's the era. This is that copper type style that would go down. Now we sort of tend to rely more on things like DNA and more on things like technology, but still relying on the confession. The way things used to go down are just not acceptable any longer. And so, they're more a thing of the past. So let's not forget something. Let's not forget this. Let's not forget that missing post on the Profiling Evil channel. Let's not forget silver-tongued mean girl, who's missing master therapist right now. She's renamed her channel BL for Barry Lover, no doubt, and hasn't posted anything. I'm concerned that her dog has passed away because her dog, I think, had a serious infection that was not treated properly by the veterinarians who probably caused it in the first instance. So anywho, digressing. Do not forget how this guy works, who he will reel in, why he wants to speak to you. He wants your backing, he wants your intellectual property, he wants your contacts, and he will screw you over, just in my opinion, like that, because it is all about him, his exclusive, his information. Remember how this person pulled you along with the narrative in the still open, unsolved case of missing woman Suzanne Moprhew, and how he spoke to you about these dogs, about this evidence, about what they found, how he groomed and puppeteered Lauren Schaaf, who no longer has a job at Fox 21. Probably quite rightly anyway. She's going to let these people be the ruin of her. It was terrible reportage by Lauren. She could barely speak in front of a camera, and I liked her send off from Fox 21 when they've got her with the screen behind her, huge Maysville sign, because this person, this journalist, is on Profiling Evil, stating how sickening it was to her that she's finding all these flyers being passed around by the Moprhew crew. They've got Maysville on them. How dare they? Can't they even get that right? Do they not care for Suzanne at all? To put Maysville. How incompetent. She says, I'm standing right here in Maysfield now, says Lauren. Yeah, you dope. So she's out. Doesn't matter. Reeled Andy Mormon in. Mr. Slick himself, the silver-tongued snake. Well, Andrew Mormon starts going a little bit off piste, doesn't he? Because he starts saying things like was with regards to his very own sister. It is a constant verbal diarrhea, spew down the toilet of past tense verbiage about his sister, which I might tell you, probably don't need to tell you. Some of you won't believe it, but Barry Moprhew has actually never spoken in the past tense, not once, recorded anywhere. It was reported that he said it, but you go and listen to what they're talking about. It is love, not loved, love, and it's very clear, but you'll believe it before you'll go and check it. I spend too many hours going and finding sources that people are talking about to check things before I come on my channel and give my own version of verbal diarrhea and rant off about what's being said, okay? And when I say something and I'm sure about it, it's not because I'm just speaking out of my own asshole. I have checked. I'm happy to be shown links to where certain things are. If you can do that, great, and I'll even make apologies, okay? But Andrew Mormon, absolutely puppeted by this crew, but particularly I'd say Chris McDonough. So when he invites you on his show, when he wants to do lives with you, denied, okay? just black it out, block it out. He's going to take you down. He's going to fuck you over, okay? Where is the integrity? Because this whole beat up about the search with the dogs for Moprhew, look what that reaped for the family. And he was telling you lies, but this is not beneath him. This is not beneath him, okay? He has hundreds of thousands of you probably, I don't know, or tens of thousands, but then it all gets spread as gossip everywhere on the internet around the world in 80 seconds. He has you all believing. I've got comments to me and seen them by various people saying Suzanne Moprhew's scent was hit upon and found in 3 sites. Or they'll say cadaver scent. Powerful hits of cadaver scent were found, or Suzanne Moprhew's cadaver scent. All of this stuff. None of these hits were powerful. None of these were what you'd call positive for cadaver. One of them, well, there was a dead animal on a bit of rock. Now, was it placed there so that the dogs are going to show some interest? Was it? Could have been. Look, the one site that I might believe that there could be scent of Suzanne Moprhew or cadaver, if it's, and speaking specifically of hers, and I hope she's alive. I'm doubting she is, but would be River Beach property. This is the property in Salida. Is it 105 Vanderveers? And why? Because scent coming down river, something coming down river. And I think the dogs should have gone further and further down river. But the trouble is that you then get to the rapids in Salida town where, it's an adventuring place and everything. And there's a few places like that where there's the river running over more shallow rocks and where one would hope that at any time of year, if someone's body or some clothing or something suspicious came down that river, it would be seen, it would be discovered and investigated. But could the scent be just a few miles downriver? If Suzanne did end up somehow in the river, even from Foosa's Dam, to get into the creek and then to go into the South Arkansas River from there, 100%, 100%. Whether she's been put there by her husband, by a serial killer, by just a random, someone who is what do you call it when what's the word starting with O? Opportunist, or by a mountain lion. No, not a bobcat, a mountain lion, a large hungry mountain lion, some of which have been hunting along that highway. And you can look up yourself for the Gunnison incident where a young lady was out hunting. She saw a mountain lion. She wasn't quite sure what to do. She thought it disappeared. It had circled round and was coming at her, and she fired her gun at it. She maimed it. It went off and it was eventually found dead, but it was going for her. It was going to attack her. She doesn't talk about seeing babies first, maybe that it was a mother. I have a feeling it was a male. And, you've got the incidents where it's filmed where a man is backing up, man. That was some funny shit. This is going to sound racist. I don't know. I'm so sorry, but I thought he was going to be a black guy. I don't know. Something about anyway, the way he spoke, that is so racist. I know. I'm not racist. I'm so sorry for that. I hope people understand what I mean. Damn. And yeah, anyway, it was awesome footage though, but this poor mother had to then leave her cubs for a very long distance to scare this guy off. It was intense. It was thrilling, and it will show you that they will come after you. Okay, people talk about, well, we don't find bits of body, we don't find bits of this or that, well, you don't see all these attacked elks. You find their racks. I've spoken about this before, but humans don't have racks. They might leave behind bicycle helmets. That's sort of something that is going to be left behind, or shredded clothes, but or a shoe, but you don't just walk through the forests and see all these sites of where animals have been attacked. Not really, do you? So you're not necessarily going to see Suzanne Moprhew's attack site either, with lots of disturbance. You don't know. You can bring all the experts in the world profiling evil, but when you are showing the wrong zone, purposefully showing the wrong spot for where something was found, it's, I don't know, very worrisome. But so don't forget, Chris McDonough will groom you. Never forget his skill set. Okay, he will groom you, use you, and fuck you over. So that's just my opinion. It is just an opinion to support other creators. If you are thinking of going into any sort of communion, any sort of union with this person and his channel, I feel strongly enough to say this. Okay, I don't know that anyone that it will apply to will see it, but look how gorgeous this orchid is. And this other little bit of native flora. May not see it, but so be it. I wanted to put it out there. Don't forget, he is a mean girl. If you don't know what I mean, you really need to start watching some of the episodes of Profiling Evil, and you need to think about why 5. was pointed out as being so meaningful and why it's down. They wouldn't have to remove the footage if it had something that's going to show in court, would they? Why? Why? Does that make sense? Who knows? It's come to nothing. It has come to nothing, and it can be debunked over and over again. Okay, so you can't tell me that Mr. Slick didn't know that he should be using dogs from within the state so that it can hold up in court. So why would you remove 5 if it's about going to court and using it as evidence against Mr. Barry Moprhew or whomever? Why? Well, probably lawsuits. This was then at the time that Profiling Evil became LLC, and they had those lawyers on the show just to talk to everyone about how they did it. They're probably the dudes that did it for them. Who knows? They can talk about Barry's 503C all they like, but that's how they're operating as well. Okay, so yeah, just buyer beware. Buyer beware. Protect your own intellectual property. Protect your own brand. Protect your sanity. Protect your humanity. Don't get dragged in. Don't have your career or YouTube experience ruined by somebody that is going to use and abuse you. He can do it all himself. He can take the time to build up his supporters, his subs, his Patreon, and so he's traveling. The silver-tongued Slick is traveling around in a silver wagon. He's a grey nomad now with his wife Karen, and they're going around the country and reporting on interesting stories as they go. Now, this is a fabulous concept. This is really awesome. Okay, but people should not forget who they are interacting with. The skills, the front. What we say in Australia is more front than Maya. This basically means balls. This means the balls to manipulate, to just go for it, right? Okay, and he's got the skills, the training, the balls. He's got the reputation, and he's got the contacts. People get thrilled and flattered by the fact that someone with the contacts that he has is wanting to associate with them. Dr. Filibuster, who I will point out, I love Dr. Todd Grand's disses. He's king of the diss, king of the underhanded sly diss. When he talks about people who might have appeared on Phil McGraw, he doesn't say appeared on Dr. Phil. He says appeared on Phil McGraw, because basically Dr. Filibuster, he's not a practicing psychiatrist. So what about anything that he says about his experience, about his status? He is a TV host. He is highly manipulative, and they're a great team, those two. So don't forget that this is a guy, all the networks, Dr. Oz and Phil McGraw. I mean, this wows people, this wows people because it gives them status. But all through his career, he's been on TV and putting himself front and center about things, being the face for things. Nothing wrong with that in itself. But when you see what he's able to do with all his experience, with all his knowledge, try to truly look. Try to take a step back out of the bubble and watch what it'll take a lot of time to watch everything that unfolded in his role and what went on in the Moprhew case over the course of especially June, July, and then into September, which is when, you know, I severed. And it just gets worse from there. Now, I don't know, is he on PE still? I don't know. Have they had some sort of falling out? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was probably always going to be what it is. Who knows? Because it's always, you know, Mike King's profiling evil, and Mike King is always having to interrupt Mean Girl, stop him from going too far. Not saying that one is upstanding and the other is not, or whatever. Okay. So this has gone on way long enough. But I really mean it as a public service announcement, as an announcement to be cautious. Okay, be cautious, be careful what people want from you and the way they're going to do it. Because he really was Machiavellian himself in the Moprhew case and what went on online, and instrumental in a lot of how you will feel now. He's your maker. He's like the puppeteer, you know. And are you human or are you dancer? Okay, be human. Have your own mind, your own thoughts about the things that you see and hear. Okay, you don't have to absorb everybody else's ideas just because it's told convincingly, you know, and because you are enthralled with people and how they present themselves, their credentials, their training, their contacts, you know. This means something, yes, but it doesn't mean everything. It doesn't mean that you go along for that ride basically with this team, this production team, taking you over into the persecute Barry Moprhew playground, theatre, you know, Coliseum. They really were instrumental in how you feel about that. You take them out of the picture and what happened, and take how they orchestrated and stage produced much of that. Now, you might still have some feelings, you know, about Barry Moprhew is dodgy. Everyone in their right mind are not just quickly discounting that. It's everybody's right to hold the opinion that Mr. Moprhew is innocent, because he very well may be. But, you know, of course he's a person of interest. This isn't to say that he's not a person of interest. But you need to go along back and work out where your emotions have been fed and how you've been drawn along, and just try to be more objective and see what you would think now. It's going to be impossible, but without all the theatrics, without that theatre of the dogs from out of state set up by people who know better. Oh no, it's Andy's show. Yeah, sure, Slick. It's Andy's radio, right? No. Anywho, I keep saying this has gone on long enough. Yeah, I mean, look, I'll say this in relation to it. Don't take anything that I share as my opinion about cases on as your opinion just because you think, wow, that humanimal, she seems really convincing about that. Go and look at what I'm showing you and see how you feel about it. And be objective still, you know, and really mull it over, because, you know, I'm not 100% with anything that I say like that, but I think, for example, with the Ramsey case, if I could, it sickens me. It really does sickens me. sicken me. I don't want the family involved, okay? It's a nightmare piled upon a nightmare. However, you know, if there were anything at all that I could, just in my mind with what I've seen so far, hold on to about an intruder, I would grasp that. You know, let's look at how this actually went down. You know, are there other little girls or boys garroted and killed this way? You know, where are the other cases nationwide? You know, people have been saying, oh, you know, it's going to be the Delphi murderer who's killed John Bonet. This is one end of his career, you know. Now there is some crazy talk about what happened to Libby and Abby and how they died. Was it a garrote? You know, certainly a weapon that this man could have been holding. And we know that there was a scarf placed for the funeral, for the viewing, you know. So if it's not a sliced throat, sorry, but this is me. Sorry, this is me. I'm blunt. And it can seem crude at times, and I do apologize. But, you know, it could be a garrote, and this could be information that the police desperately want to keep away from the public because, you know, you've got to keep these bits of information secret so that you can really know what you're doing in the investigation when you're talking to suspects. They've got DNA that they can test, you know, haven't they? Have they not been able to test it against John Bonet Ramsey's touch DNA that was found within her clothing? Because do they not have DNA at the site? Or if Abby and Libby, is that conceivable? How awful. You know, so it's possible they were garroted. It's possible that a serial killer 24 years later can still be operating. But where are the other cases in between? Are they in existence? I'm not so sure. You know, but if it could be proven that there's an intruder, sorry, I just can't go with Lee Schmidt on this one wholly. Because every time I look at what he presents, I can have a different view on what evidence he is showing, and I can't commit to it and buy into it, which is the only reason why then, okay, I have to look at the family, the 3 people that were in that home that night, known to be in that home, and then I've had to go through that process of elimination over the last few years, you know. Yeah, so there you have it. Anyway, so hey, have a beautiful day, and I will be on here later.